Hi, and welcome to Prepping Essentials.
Well, good morning from the polytunnel. Not the usual intro, but it's 12 o'clock on Saturday the 15th of October. Why am I in the polytunnel and where's the normal intro? Well, let's find out. Well, it's a bit too late to see what the chickens are up to. They've had their feed and their scratch about this morning while I've been busy having a bit of a clear out. Digging through some of the preps in the cabin to see if there's anything I might want to take home. Also wanting to sort out the bit of a jungle we've got going on in the garden room with those pumpkins and chilies, and of course here in the polytunnel with what's left of the cucumber and this tomato forest that disappointingly hasn't achieved much this year, but then that'll teach me, I guess, to try a new variety. I should have stuck with what I knew. So there is lots of stuff, boring stuff for a video, frankly. Clearing out weeds, clearing out the polytunnel, clearing out the garden room. I've got some preps for the bees for overwintering. I'm just going to make a cup of coffee now and decided I will do the video after all. So we'll get settled down with the coffee and have a chat. Well, good morning and welcome to another weekend. Did you miss the intro? The normal intro. I almost didn't do a video today. The weather's been pretty rubbish all week. We've had intermittent rain, dark cloudy skies, quite wet underfoot because we have had quite a bit of rain this week on and off. And I woke up middle of the night and it was throwing it down. So when I set off this morning, I was in two minds as to what to do. All the stuff that's going on in the world, whether that's personal life, work, or the general chaos that we've got going on, can get a bit depressing from time to time. Sometimes it is difficult to motivate yourself. And in all honesty, this morning, I thought, do you know what? The weather's rubbish. I'm not going to get anything done. I'll just feed the chickens and go home. And maybe make some progress on the garage. I've been busy this week digging out a variety of different preps that are stored in there. Not the easiest task when everything's in boxes. Still, a lot of stuff is in boxes. But I did want to get some bits and pieces out, and I'll probably do a little montage type video when I get a chance during the week as to what I've been digging around for, making sure it works, making sure that if I need any additional items to go with them, that I just top up now, with a view to keeping myself as close to normal as I can during what I think will be a pretty rough winter this winter. I've not seen any long range weather forecasts, not as you can generally put that much faith in them, but I've not seen any that indicate what we're going to get. There has been a bit of talk about a really cold winter this year, but surprisingly very little has been made of it in the kind of normal media that you would look at for long range weather forecasting. So I don't know. I suspect, given the way the season changed very quickly and the fact that geese were flying out early, the berries on the bushes out on the hedgerow were coming into fruit early, I can't even remember the name of it now, elderberries. Almost a bit of a non-season. They just seemed to go through the flowering and ripening stage within the space of a couple of weeks rather than a gradual process. Really strange, this wooded area behind the cabin this year. I think I remember showing you some pictures when we were having the drought of the amount of damage that was done to the trees. They just shriveled up and died in big patches along that wooded boundary that I've got. So yeah, odd year this year, which makes me suspect that it will be rough this winter, weather-wise, but more so it's going to be rough this weather, economy, cost of living, everything else we've got going on wise. So anyway, I digress, as I often do. I did think this morning I would come down and just feed the chickens and go. I really, for whatever reason, wasn't in the mood today. But I kind of got here, did the chickens. I kind of flicked through some of the screenshots I've been saving up this week with the various news stories. And then, thankfully, I got distracted in the garden room. I thought, you know what, I'll see what chilies are ready to pick. And then that led to me starting to snip away some of the pumpkin, and then that led me into having a wholesale clear out in the garden room. And I'm just about to do the same in the polytunnel. The sun has come out, the wind has picked up, so it is drying off a little bit. And it's kind of cleared my mood as well. Anyway, enough of me. How are things with you? Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I hope you are staying safe and well and enjoying your weekend. Been a busy week for me this week with work, both work at home and travel. I was down in London again this week. That is just chaos in itself. I lose a good 5 to 6 hours. In fact, it's probably closer to 7 to 8 hours when you're taking the journey to the station from my house and back. I just lose that. So I'm going at stupid o'clock in the morning to be there for normal office hours, and then I'm leaving and getting home really late at night. So it kills the week, and you end up not getting an awful lot done. So I kind of reflected on that this morning and thought, you know what, let's just knuckle down and get some stuff done. So what is going on in the big wide world? Pretty much business as usual. We're still sending, we as in the UK government, are still sending hundreds of millions of pounds worth of armaments to Ukraine, as are other countries, though it is noticeable that the appetite now in Europe for doing that is beginning to dry up. Countries are turning round, several countries are turning round and saying, do you know what, we can't afford this. We've got that much going on in our own country, caused by predominantly the governments themselves and their, how can I put it politely? I can't put it politely really. They're just a mess of a job they've been doing with their economies over the last few years, with this endless printing of money. Reality's kind of hitting home now, and governments are actually looking and thinking, do you know what, we've got bigger problems to deal with. Here in the UK, the Bank of England, I think I mentioned it last week, bailed out the pension funds. They were on the verge of collapse again this week, so every day this week the Bank of England has been buying up at stupid prices gilts and other bonds in an effort to stabilise the pension market and stop them collapsing, and probably taking a few banks with them along the way. We've just spent another £20 billion of borrowed money, just printed money that we've made up from thin air. Another 20 billion bailing out the pension funds, and it stopped yesterday, Friday, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens come Monday morning, whether it's been enough or whether they said they wouldn't spend any more, but who knows, whether the funds collapse or we end up spending some more. The economy, and it's not just this country, the economy all over the world is really screwed up. It really is. It is on the brink of another of these 2008 style global meltdowns. And people in different countries around the world, banks and financial institutions and government, central banks, are really scrabbling to try and avert what would be the mother of all catastrophes from an economic and financial perspective. So it's not looking good, and I really would encourage people to take a look at their own personal finances. This morning before I came out here, I had a little spreadsheet up on the computer just looking to see what, if any, things I could cut back on to try and create that little bit more spare cash, whether that's to increase the amount of disposable income I've got to buy stuff that I want or need, or whether that's just to try and tuck some away for a rainy day, because I really do think before that much longer the skies are going to open, and a bit of a euphemism here, people are going to really start to struggle. I mentioned stuff in the garage. I was digging out stuff for winter. It's generally around the theme of living without the mains grid, so watch out for that at some point during the coming week. It will be a bit of a hodgepodge of various clips that I've been taking as and when I've had time during the week, whether that's for solar or other things. So I don't know how it's going to turn out, but hopefully there'll be something in there to give you a bit of a steer, or to prompt you to think about things that perhaps you might have overlooked so far. Other stuff that's going on in the world, connected with the economy still, because everything pretty much is. Interest rates are up, inflation continues to go up, lots of media articles about the coming energy crisis this winter, lots of stories about households struggling to keep pace with their devalued pound and the increased cost of just the normal day-to-day stuff through inflation. Interesting article about the housing market. Talked a bit recently about banks withdrawing mortgage offers, which has had an impact on people who were trying to buy property. But landlords, private landlords, or institutional landlords for that matter, there was an interesting article about how the costs have gone up by 30%. And landlords are really struggling. More and more people, I suspect, are looking to the rental market as they try and extricate themselves from the mortgage interest rate rises that we've seen and will continue to see. I suspect there are an awful lot of people looking at the news lately and just wondering how come spring next year, which is generally where people's mortgage products, the fixed rate ones, come to an end, and they remortgage or look for a better rate. A lot of people are starting to wake up and smell the coffee and realise that at some point next year they're going to face at least a doubling of their interest payments. So quite scary stuff financially. So I thought I'd just remind everybody to try and think ahead and plan ahead a little bit, and get themselves now into a better shape to face what will be coming next year. I'm sure there were a lot of other things that I screenshotted during the week and had intended to mention today in the cabin chat. But given my mood this morning, everything is upended now for the day. So I just want to spend another couple of hours before I lose the mood again to just keep cracking on and having a bit of a clear up and a tidy up. I have got some stuff for the bees If this bit of sunshine keeps up for the next hour or two, I might be tempted to have a bit of a shuffle of the hives. Thank you to Simon, who commented on last week's video when we looked in the hives, and thank you for your tips. I will be organising, if not today then definitely tomorrow. I guess you'll see as this video continues. I will be reorganising those two hives. I have got a supply of the smoking material for the hive smoker. That came this week. I've also got a couple of extra packets of Varroa mite treatment. So again, the plan is at some point over the weekend to pop those into the hive so that they can do their thing and treat any Varroa that happens to be in the hive. I'm hoping there isn't, but you never know. So lots and lots of little bitty things today. So apologies, it's not quite the coherent, or as coherent as I can make it, production this Saturday, but I'm sure all of us at some point have one of those days, and today for me has been one of those days. So hopefully tomorrow or during the week we'll get back to normality, and I should have maybe a couple of little videos for you, or one huge montage for you to look forward to. So let me get rid of this coffee, get cracked on. Wherever I am doing, I'll keep you posted. And wherever you are, wherever you're doing, stay safe and well, and enjoy your weekend. Well, this has taken a lot longer than I thought it would, as these things always do. But that's cleared out. I just need to have a bit of a scrape along the floor now and try and get it tidied up a little bit. Otherwise it'll just encourage weeds to grow everywhere. And look at that. Some huge cucumbers buried amongst all of that lot that I didn't spot at all. But I know who'll eat those. Yep, chickens. Well, it's not their usual greenery, but they're enjoying it. They're all getting stuck in, which is very nice. Well, I've just finished in the polytunnel, so I'll give you a quick run round. Had a tidy up in here, cut back some of the dead branches. Everything's pretty much set now to casually drop into winter. Again, just cleaned up round the floors. I've took a bit of time repotting or planting in some of the strawberries that have been growing. So they'll stay in those trays now, and they can overwinter in the garden room. I'll leave the ones in the raised beds in place and see how they get on. Pumpkins cut right back. I've left a bit of stump in there to see if it does anything. And no other reason. So if after a few weeks I don't see any signs of life, it'll come out. Chilies have been taken out of the jungle. Lots and lots of red chilies come in. Lots of them, and I've been picking these, and we've still got a whole host of green ones still left to go. They are literally everywhere. So really pleased with those. I might try and overwinter. Not sure if you can do that with chilies or not, so anybody who's done that, let me know. Can you just cut these back and overwinter them and let them come on in spring, or do they actually die off? Move on to the polytunnel. This has been a long old chore in here. As usual, took way longer than I thought. I was tempted to pull some buckets of potatoes up, but I'll have to leave that for today because the clouds are gathering again, and I think before much longer we're going to get some rain. But what a difference in here. Difference in temperature in here as well. It's absolutely roasting in here. So cleared out all the way down these beds, emptied out what was left of it. Look at that down there. That's going to have to come out. Can you see that bloody slug? Yeah, cleared out all the tomatoes, scraped out the floor on both sides, got all my pots emptied and lined up to dry out and get ready for next season. So these two cucumber type planters, these round ones, they'll come out as well at some point. So in terms of what's left in here, not a lot. We've got some stunning growth on these 2 tubs of potatoes that I put in a few weeks ago. Hopefully those will continue, and we'll be harvesting those right on Christmas as I did last year. Not sure about these other 2 buckets though. Still no signs of life in those, but it's early days, it's only a week or 2, so there is still chance for them to come on, and if they don't, they don't. So now I've cleared out, I'll have a little bit of a think in here as to how I want to lay it out for spring. So any top tips, hints, suggestions, feel free to let me know. I think this next year I will be tempted, rather than just shipping stuff in willy-nilly, I think I will plant out properly these beds and permanently pipe in the water from that tank, because it was still a chore this year. Even though that was there, the piping wasn't. So let's see, I'll have a little ponder. Anyway, need to get tidied up, get the cabin locked up, and it'll be time to go.
Well, that's it for this video. I hope there was something in there that was of interest to you. If you did like the video, please do click on the like button. Also feel free to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. As always, I welcome any comments, questions or suggestions you might have. Just feel free to leave them in the comments section below. But for now, thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.